The exhibits of this museum tell you about the history of our school. Our school was built in 1965. I'd like to show you this photo. You can take it.
Thank you.
I'd like to show you this photo where you can see how our school looked like more than 50 years ago. The sons and daughters of the first cosmonauts became its pupils. So our school, since 1967, our school has been specializing in learning English. Our pupils have more opportunities to learn foreign languages compared with other state schools. We have more English classes, and other than that, we can choose one more language to learn, German or French. In 1967, our school was named after Vladimir Mikhailovich Komarov, and in order to honor him. This portrait was painted by his friend Tsarev Vasily Evgenievich, whose son gave this portrait to our school as a present. Let's move to another display, please.
Here you can see the Fedor Ivanovich Fedorov. He was the first principal of our school. Before he became a teacher, he had defended our country from the fascists. Near on the right of the photo you can see a book with his poems. Another book written by Fedor Ivanovich was called We Fought for Our Motherland. Some copy of his book we can see on the display. Fedor Ivanovich taught his pupils to love their motherland and to keep peace on our planet. Now I want to show you the photo of the first teachers that who works in our school. Among them, you can see Yuri Gagarin. As you know, it's the first Russian cosmonaut.
Wow, that's cool.
Three other displays tell a story about youth movement in the Soviet Union.
At primary school, children were named Oktyabrята. They bore the badge in the shape of 5-point red star, which you can see here. In the center you can see the Vladimir Ilyich Lenin in childhood, here. Yeah. And that's all about primary school. At the age of 10, at the age of 10, pupils became members of a pioneer organization. The main symbol of a pioneer is a red scarf tied around the neck. Here you can see some red ties with a pioneer's badge. At the age of 16, young people belong to the Komsomol. This youth organization took part in different social activities, and they help to improve their life in the community of Star City, making it better and more interesting. Now Veronica will tell you about the first space dynasties, and there you are.
Thank you.
Our school is proud of Roman Romanenko and Sergei Volkov. They started our school and finished it in 1990 and 1986. They followed their fathers and chose the profession of a cosmonaut. This is a portrait of Romanenko Yuri Viktorovich. He is the father of Roman Romanenko. He 3 times flew into space and 3 times went into outer space. And this is a portrait of Volkov Alexander Alexandrovich, and he's the father of Sergei Volkov. He was pilot cosmonaut of the Soviet Union. Nowadays, children of the cosmonauts study at our school. Here you can see the photos from the family's albums, which they gave our museum as a present. And now I want to draw attention to this display.
Our pupils take part in different competitions. These cups show their achievements in sport.
Well, our excursion is over, and here you can see an album where guests usually write their impressions after visiting the museum. And could you write your regards to our school
Yes.
here?
Let's see what people have done here.
Okay. Of course.
Oh, we got
Start
the
here.
jacks.
I think we'll exchange the souvenirs later in the conference hall.
Kia. Alright, so on this side or this side? So, where was it?
It don't mind. You can see
Here?
Choose whatever you want.
whatever you want. I think it will be great. It will be great there. Here.
Хорошо, today is
Today is 20th March.
20, yeah, I should know that. I'm gonna write it in English, Russian, and Spanish.
Yeah.
Хорошо?
It's great.
Хорошо.
So tell us what you're writing, or it's too quiet.
What's that?
Tell us what
I'm
you're
writing muchas gracias por teplый прием.
Молодец.
But you gotta tell me how to write, spell теплый, so I spell it right.
Yeah, that's
Ти.
what you... Ё,
Йо, да, это я знаю.
П,
Л,
Л,
It's the last part, isn't it?
Н,
Эй.
Теплый.
Теплый.
Й, and then Е.
И, and then yeah?
E with
Oh, да. Más o menos.
You pick the hard ones to spell.
Да. It's the challenge.
You can spell прием.
Más o menos.
Ты же
I
без
am
мата.
very impressed I'm very impressed by your school y sus estudiantes. That's in your students.
And your students.
Da.
No one will be able to read you.
That's the challenge. These are very
Okay.
smart kids. They'll all be able to do it.
Okay.
Just do like Google Translate.
No,
and it'll be okay.
everything is Google Translate now.
The teachers of our school don't allow our pupils to use Google.
No?
we usually
Okay, don't use
But
Google
anyway-
Translate.
But anyway, they use it.
usually use dictionaries, large dictionaries.
Ну, только иногда. Когда никто не знает, тогда можно.
Continue to follow your dreams. You are our future.
Wow.
Don't break the...
It's strong. This is Russian strong glass. Хорошо.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I'm
you very
sorry,
much.
but I'd like you to do one more thing. This is the calendar of our school events in March. Unfortunately, we haven't planned your visit beforehand.
Да.
Nevertheless, I'd like you to write down the date of today's meeting and maybe some words, some regards, if you don't mind. Thanks a lot.
You're
Now,
very welcome.
it will be one more item, new item in our school, you see.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now,
Thank
Polya, will you lead everybody to the second floor, to the conference hall? I think that all participants are here in the conference hall, and we may start our meeting. In our school, there is a nice, wait a little.
Who speaks Spanish?
No.
Some French, maybe?
Yeah, French. A bit.
And who speaks German? Yeah. German? I don't speak German.
Nice.
We can do English, we can do Spanish, and we can do a little bit of по-русски. Хорошо? Немного по-русски. So, I have some things to show you. Yeah, let me see if we can start. How old are you guys? What age? 16. 16.
13.
Bravo. Teenagers. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Trouble. I don't need a microphone, right? Microphone? No. No. Very informal, which is better. Click, please.
Where do you click? Oh, just click.
So I work for NASA. Everybody knows what NASA is, right?
Yeah.
Sure, we're getting there. Does that click it?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, that's good. Now I have control. So, that's what I looked like when I was just a little malchik. Yeah? That's when I was cute. And then I started to grow up. You know, I grew up in California. Anybody been to the United States?
Yes.
Where did you go?
Washington and Miami.
Oh, very nice. Miami's. So I was in California on the other side. And then, you know, I kept growing. My teeth got bigger. Yeah. And bigger. And my hair got bigger. And then you get old like me and it starts to go away. So enjoy your wonderful hair while you can. While I was in college, I joined the United States Marine Corps, so it's a part of the military. And so I did that for about 6 years. I went to school in California, and I studied geology. You guys know what geology is? Who can tell me what is geology? The study of what? Study of the earth. I'm just checking. You know, I got to make sure you guys understand me. So minerals, all that good stuff. So, if you didn't know, I used to be a school teacher before I became an astronaut. And so that's why I'm asking you a lot of questions. I know it's very boring when the teacher goes to the front of the classroom and just talks, and just talks, and you fall asleep, and they yell at you, and then you have to go see the schoolmaster, and you get in trouble. So I'm going to try to talk a little bit and let you guys ask me more questions, so it'll be very informal. And anytime you have a question, just stop me and ask me a question. So, like I said, I was a school teacher, and let me see, is this out of the corner? Done. So, as you know, and if you don't know, school teachers do not get paid a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
So, school teachers teach because they love it. So you guys should be very grateful for the teachers that you have. Your English is very good. Your school is very nice. So thank you to all the teachers that are here. But you can see, teachers don't make a lot of money, so I couldn't cut my hair. I just let it keep growing. But I was on vacation. So that's what I looked like before NASA got a hold of me. Let me skip all of this. Well, you know, you guys might understand all this, so I'm going to try and see if you understand. Your parents are always telling you what to do, right? Which is good, because they're giving you advice. And so my parents, as I was growing up, they gave me a lot of advice, but I didn't always listen. So, I'm not telling you not to listen to your parents, because they're very wise, but sometimes you have to make decisions. And I know for you, this is a time in your life where you might have to decide, do I want to go to the university? Do I want to go technical? So start thinking about your future. So, metal shop. So in America, when you're in like high school like you are, they give you 5 classes, and then you get to pick one class that you want to take. So it can be music, it could be like automobile repair, and so I picked metal shop, which is like working with metal. And I did that every year for 4 years. My parents thought it was bad because they wanted me to maybe do some like acting, maybe do some art, do some metal shop, and they wanted me to try different things, but I was very, what's the word in Russian? Упрямый.
Stubborn.
Stubborn. Да.
Yeah.
You want to know why? Because I'm Tauru. I'm Taurus. So I'm very stubborn, and so I didn't listen to them, and so I did that. And then I did not want to go to college. Why? Because I wanted to make DNB. I wanted to make money. I don't want to study anymore. I'm tired. I just want to make money. But my dad convinced me. He said, if you go for 1 year and you don't like it, then you can quit. I went for 1 year. I loved it so much, I went for 7 years. So, yeah, the university is cool. If you want to go to the university, trust me, it's fun. And then I joined the Marine Corps. Anybody who joins the military, mama never likes it, because mama doesn't want their baby joining the military and doing all that. So mama was not happy. And then I found a job. I was working as a geologist, and then I became a volunteer. What does that mean when you're a volunteer?
You help some other people for free.
You go to some rural African.
You help people, and the key word is you do it for free, no money. Best zarplati, you don't get paid. And so my parents, they came from Puerto Rico. They moved to the United States because they wanted us to get an education, get a good job. I had a great job, and then I became a volunteer, where I didn't make any money. My dad thought I was the craziest person alive, but it's something I wanted to do. So I went to a different country and I helped them learn about the environment. I went to the Bahamas. It was a cool job. But this was the biggest mistake my parents ever thought I could do, was to become a school teacher. It's almost worse than being a volunteer in their minds, because teachers, again, they don't make a lot of money, but they know how important it is. But they really were just thinking about my future and how I could be more successful. But success is not always about money, okay? You got to have a job that you like. I love being a teacher, but they thought I made a lot of mistakes. And then, I'm going to point this. So, that's what I looked like when I first got hired. Remember, I was the hippie. You know what a hippie is? Yeah? Hippie, long-haired dude. That was me. And then NASA got a hold of me, and that's what I looked like. And when people ask me, and they go, Joe, why do you think you became an astronaut? Why did NASA pick you to become an astronaut? And when I look back at my life, when I did my interview, we had a 1-hour interview. There was a panel of astronauts and managers, and we spent, out of that 1 hour, we spent 30 minutes talking about when I was 16 or 17 years old. They thought it was very important because on the International Space Station, we're fixing the toilet, we're fixing the electrical system. You have to be able to work with your hands and work with tools. Joining the military was very important. We have a long history of military astronauts, and it's not because you were in the military, but you learn how to operate in a certain environment. And being a volunteer was very important because they showed that I could work in an international environment like we do with astronauts coming here. And when I moved to the Bahamas, it was a very small island and only 10 people lived on the island. So it was like the space station, but instead of being in space, it was out in the middle of the ocean. And then the most important thing was being a teacher. The teachers all know that they have a plan for what they're going to do in class. And then what happens to their plan? you show up. You guys show up and you mess it all up for the teacher. Because maybe you ask a question they weren't ready for, you do something they didn't expect, so they have to be able to adapt. So that's why teachers are really good at their job, and that's what astronauts have to do. I'm going to put this list up here, and I know you're filming. You guys can take a picture of that. I'm not going to talk about all of those because you'll fall asleep. But at your age, when you start looking at different jobs and what you want to do, just pick whatever you really love. But these are skills not just for astronauts, but if you want to be a dancer, you want to be an engineer, you want to be a doctor, these are the kinds of skills that you want to work on. They're going to teach you the technical skills, but you have to learn how to interact with different people. So when you get bored or you can't fall asleep at night, just read this and it might help you. All right, that's enough talking. Any questions so far? Yeah.
Okay, about space tourism, I'll ask you. What do you think about space tourism, and will be it more available in future?
I think space tourism is great. I like being an astronaut because I'm not rich and I can't pay $20 million, $30 million to go to space. But I think every astronaut wants more people to go to space, and we want to make it more available. So right now, it's very, very expensive to go to space as a tourist, but I think in the future, it's going to become cheaper and there's going to be more opportunities. So we think it's a good idea, and hopefully it's just like airplanes. When they first started flying, they were very dangerous, they were very expensive, and now more and more people can fly, and hopefully space will get like that.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Go for it. Anybody else while I work over here? Yes.
What do you think about Elon Musk, and is his company SpaceX the future of space exploration?
What's the schoolmaster? Phone ringing in class. It's terrible. So, what do I think about Elon Musk? Do you mind just escaping from that? So, SpaceX. Over here, right?
Yeah.
I think he's doing a lot of good things. NASA has a very strong partnership with SpaceX. We've been using them for cargo vehicles, like a Progress-type cargo vehicle, to go to the International Space Station since 2012. And hopefully later this year, we're going to fly U.S. astronauts on a SpaceX, Elon Musk company spaceship. So I think he's done a lot for kind of what we were talking about with making space more available to people. So it's pretty cool that this guy had some great ideas. He had a lot of money, but he had the intelligence and the ability to make this company, and he's doing things that have never been done before. So we think it's great. Anybody else? Yes. Man, your English is so good. Very impressed.
Do you think we can colonize other planets? Do you think we can go further than our solar system?
It's going to be hard. Can we go to other planets? We will. Right now, NASA is working with the entire international community to go back to the moon. And we're doing that so we can go to Mars. And so I think I'm kind of jealous because you guys are at the perfect age. You know, one of you might be the first person to walk on Mars, and that would be cool. Anybody want to be a cosmonaut? No? No cosmonauts? Yo, my yo. How can that be true? Maybe we have one. If one of you guys go to Mars, all I know is that I would love to be sitting there and listening to your story about Mars. So yes, I think we are going to be going to other planets. To go outside of our solar system, it's going to happen someday, but that's going to take a lot more work. But it's exciting. We're doing a lot of good things. All right. Yeah, I kept that. I'm going to do this. All right. I know I've been talking a lot. You're falling asleep. Who likes to eat pizza? Nobody likes pizza? Who We got a couple of pizza eaters. If I said shawarma, who likes to eat shawarma? But, so, let's see. Shawarma is my favorite. So see if you can figure out which one's the Russian pizza and which one's the Italian pizza. So this was Saturday night on the space station. Astronauts like to have fun. They work very hard, but more pizza. All right, thank you. Anyway, that was one of our Saturday nights on the space station. We had one of the cargo ships that came up and they brought us supplies so we can make a pizza. So sometimes you have to have fun. So your teachers and your parents are going to tell you to work really, really hard, which is a good idea, but you also have to have fun. Because if all you do is work hard, life is long, and so you have to have a little bit of fun in your life. So make sure you do that. Any other questions before I pick another video to show you?
Do you like Hawaii pizza with pineapple?
No! I hate the Hawaiian pizza. You want to know why?
Delicious, delicious.
Okay, I love ham. Oh man, I love ham. And I love pineapple. Okay, I'm Puerto Rican. We like fruits and all that. But I don't like to mix sweets and meats. That's my problem.
Have you tried?
Have I tried it?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm 50 years old. I've tried a lot of things. Of course I tried it. I've eaten it, and people always tell me, oh, try it again. Maybe, you had a bad pineapple. Maybe the ham wasn't good. No, this place makes the best Hawaiian pizza. They have the best spaghetti sauce, and I go, okay, let me try it. And I don't like any. Sorry, but, we all like different things. I just don't like to mix my sweets and my meats. They're separate. Do you like Hawaiian pizza?
Yeah.
Who likes Hawaiian pizza? I see a couple of them. Yes, I'm not alone. Thank you very much. It is good. It's just not my favorite. So. Yes.
What entertainments you have in space?
So we have, let me see, we can watch movies while we're up there. They send us a lot of movies so we can watch television. The internet is very, very slow, so we don't use that a lot. One of the best things that we have is we have a view of planet Earth, which is, and I'll show you some more video or pictures of that. But it's the best thing ever when you look out and you see the planet 200 miles away, how beautiful it is, whether it's daytime or nighttime, it looks totally awesome. So usually when we have free time, we do that. We have the best telephone ever made, where I can call anybody in the world that I want to call, but they can't call me. It only goes one way, so it's great. Nobody can bother you. Like I've called most of my friends, they never answer the phone because they don't know the phone number. Then I leave a message, and then they hit redial, and they try to call me. Doesn't work. So we do that. Let me see, what else? So entertainment, we like to eat. And let me show you another video. While I was up there last year, we were there for American Thanksgiving. We were there for, our Christmas. We were there for New Year. We were there for the Russian New Year. And so, Russian Christmas. And so we had a lot of holidays.
What about your birthday?
My birthday? So we had birthdays while I was up there. when I flew back in 2012, I got to the space station on my birthday, and I'll show you a little video of that because my parents were terrible, but that's what parents do. I'll show you that in a little bit. But let me show you this. And hold on, I'm going to tell you here.
Фотографируете, да, его, да?
Дорогие друзья, нас много раз спрашивали, а будет ли у нас на столе здесь, на Международной космической станции, в космосе, главный атрибут, один из главных атрибутов Нового года – это салат оливье. Поэтому я, Антон Шкапер, со своим другом Александром Мисуркиным решили приготовить здесь наш российский салат оливье. Приступаем. Наверное, начну с лука. Самое главное, пока готовишь, в невесомости не съесть все ингредиенты по отдельности. Следующий у нас горошек. Горошек сублимированный, поэтому нужно его сначала разбавить водой.
Тихорецкую состав отправится, вагончик тронется вперед, останется стена кирпичная, часы вокзальные, платочки белые, платочки.
Следующий ингредиент – это колбаса.
Ой, какие люди! Ну, ты меня не боишься! Осторожно.
Ну что, ингредиенты все нарезаны, уложен в нашу космическую миску. Осталось теперь только заправить соусом. Итак, момент истины. Салат готов, осталось проверить, все ли ингредиенты в нужной пропорции. Похоже. Похоже. На настоящий похоже. Друзья, всем привет! Экипаж 54-й экспедиции встречает Новый год на орбите по московскому времени в данный момент. Все атрибуты Нового года у нас с собой, кроме снега, но, как в смешариках говорили, мы компенсируем отсутствие снега обильным наличием подарков. У нас есть много... Я получил подарок! У нас есть много елок. Вот она, наша елка. У нас есть оливье. Это космический оливье, который мы сделали первый раз по самому космическому рецепту. У нас есть самое настоящее советское шампанское. Написано, конечно, лимонад, но читать надо вот здесь. Крепкий. Друзья, это самый незабываемый Новый год в жизни моей, и я думаю, что у каждого ребенка. Давайте за то, чтобы он был классно, чтобы 2018 был классным космическим Новым годом. 3-4. Ура! 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 Новый год!
So that's what we do for fun on the space station. Good. Who likes that kind of salad? Good? Right?
Yeah.
That's tasty.
That's delicious.
Yes.
What can you tell us about Russian people? About
I don't know. What can you tell me about Russian? You're Russian.
What do you think?
I love Russian people. One of the so my first time I went to space, I flew on the space shuttle, and I can show you some of that video here in a little bit. And then I was lucky that my second time I flew on the Soyuz vehicle, so I had to come out here. Our training is about maybe 2 years long, and about half of it is spent in Russia. And so we have a lot of chances to interact with Russians, not just our crewmates, but our instructors, the people in our office that support us, and then you get to know people's families. And so, you know, you get to learn a lot about Russians, where most people, when I tell them I'm going to Russia, they think I'm crazy, because most Americans don't go to Russia on vacation. So, you know, we're lucky enough to learn, I think, more about Russian people, and I think I really enjoy your company. And after I got back from my last flight, I chose to come and work out here because I like being out here. So it's funny because, like in America, when you're walking down the street, hey, how you doing? Hello, hello. Everybody's smiling, and they say, how are you doing? But they're not expecting you to stop and go, I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you? No, they just say hello, and they smile. When I walk around Moscow in the metro, you know, people, they look very serious, but if I asked a question or if I asked for help, people would stop and they would smile and they would help me. So I think sometimes you have to look past what you see on the surface and really get to know people. So I've had a great experience with Russians. What do you guys think about Americans? Come on, now it's your turn.
They're smiling every time.
Always smiling. Why are they always smiling? Are they that happy?
No.
I don't know. Maybe.
When
they're that
they
happy.
meet people, they smile. Besides, Americans are very open people as Russians.
I think Russians are
They
very
are
open.
similar.
You think Russians are open?
No.
No?
No.
No. Well, but again, what might look on the surface as very nice and happy and open, I can't say it's not true, but there's a difference between the surface and what's underneath. But I live in Texas now, and whenever I meet people that have gone to Texas, they're like, I love Texas. People are so nice. How y'all doing? Welcome to Texas. I mean, so that's funny that you think Americans are open and smiling. What else about Americans? I want to know about me. What else about Americans?
National Hockey League is thought to be one of the most interesting. What team do you support, if you support?
Of course I support, and because I come from California, I have my two teams. I have the Los Angeles Kings, and then I have the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. That's because I'm from California. But some of the best players in the National Hockey League are from where?
From Russia.
The Russian players, so. All right, did we answer that question about what I think about Russian people? Anything else you want to know about that? Good? All right, question?
What's your favorite sport, and has it remained one of the most, one of the mainest disciplines for your preparations?
So one of my, I guess, I don't know, I have a lot of favorite sports, but as you saw when I was younger, I like to play baseball, you know, a very American sport. But I like to watch all of the sports. I like to watch football. In America right now, this is like a super exciting 2 or 3 weeks because we have the university college basketball championship happening right now. So like at work for the next like 2 weeks, got to turn the camera off. I'm going to be watching basketball because it's very, you know, this is like a very important time. When I leave here today, I have to go pick the teams that I want to win. So I'm looking forward to that. So the second part of your question was, how does that prepare me?
Your preparation for flight.
Like, how is it?
Was it difficult?
Was it difficult?
No.
International problems.
Is your favorite sport remains one of the main disciplines of your preparation for flight?
So I think if I understand your question, like, does a sport Are you trying to compare sports with the discipline for my job?
Oh.
You sure that's a question? Ask the question in Russian. По-русски.
Остался ли ваш любимый спорт одной из самых главных дисциплин во время подготовки к полету в космос?
Translator?
Whether your favorite sport stayed your favorite discipline when you were training for flight. So whether you used your favorite sport when you were training for flight.
So, thank you very much, everybody, for your patience and the opinion. I appreciate it. I did not use a baseball bat to hit my crew members, so I did not have to do that. But what's interesting, why sports are so important, is that most sports are a team sport. There's a few that you're by yourself, but even by yourself, you still have your coaches and other people. So I think sports are very important because they teach you discipline, you know, how to stay focused, and you always have something you want to do better, which is what we want to do in our jobs as well. But really working with other people. You know, I'm not the smartest person on the planet, but I had a lot of people that would help me, and that's similar to a sport. So I think, you know, by playing baseball, I can play one position, but I need the person next to me to do their job, and they want me to do my job, and that's a lot of what it is to be an astronaut. So if I'm working with a cosmonaut or another astronaut, they expect me to be smart enough to do my job, and I rely on them to do their job. So hopefully I kind of answered your question. Man, these questions are getting harder and harder. Yes?
So, back to that video with Olivia.
Yeah.
Is there any big difference in taste of Olivia comparing to Earth's, maybe in Russia?
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of people will say that their taste is different when they get to space. We don't know why, but they say it changes a little bit. So a lot of people put more spicy ingredients in their food to make it taste better. For me, it stayed about the same. But my favorite meal was the Russian svinina s percem. And so every Friday night when we would go to the Russian segment to eat dinner, they always had a little bunk of, you know, pork with peppers waiting for me because it was delicious. So for some people the taste change. For me it stays about the same. And so the salad was really good.
So maybe on next flight you want to cook borscht?
Yeah, borscht would be good. We have borscht, but it's in a you know, it's in a bag, and so you have to add water to it. But it was pretty good.
So there difference between taste on space?
Well, so that's a complicated but good question. On the so you have the space station, right? And we have many different partners. Two of the big partners, of course, is the Americans, and then you have the Russian segment. And the Russians have their food, and we have our food. And maybe 5 years ago, we tried to make the food healthier. So we took out a lot of the salt from the food. Salt is what makes food taste good. But too much salt is not healthy for you. So the U.S. food, sometimes, you know the word bland? I don't know what that is in Russian.
Blend with what?
Bland. No, not blend. Bland. Duh. It's like there's no flavor. It doesn't taste bad. It doesn't taste good. It's just kind of there. So sometimes you have to add, you know, a little bit of salt, a little bit of spice to it. And the Russian food, while sometimes it doesn't look good, sometimes when you open it up, it looks like cat food, right? I mean, it's in a can. It just doesn't look great. But then you start eating it, and you're like, ooh, this is good. So, you know, if I were to fly again, I think I would have, you know, a combination of the two foods. But my favorite soup is harcho. You know what soup harcho is?
Yep.
Yeah. You know why I like that?
Spicy.
It's ostry. I like it spicy. So
thank you for your answers.
Thank you for the question. Food is very important. Yes.
Maybe you have special ritual or
mask before your flight, or something special things that you do before you are going to the space?
Like a
Some little thing that makes you
Bravely.
lucky. One thing that on my first Soyuz flight, when I came home, one of my crewmates, Sonny Williams, her mother gave us a little necklace with St. Christopher on it, and I got home and I was alive, so that was good. So I took that one with me when I flew last time, and if you see some videos with me, it's always floating in my face, so I had that the whole time. But the Russians, another thing I love about Russians, to go back to your question, is you guys have a lot of cool traditions, right? There's a lot of cool traditions. So, let me see if I can find it. What's that? Yes, the Gennady is good luck. Let me see. This mouse pad is. There we go. So, a lot of Russian traditions. We lay flowers, we plant trees, and then of course you have your rocket that's getting ready to get erected to go on launch, and that's like 2 days before launch. That's Baikonur. That's real, that's not Photoshop. But another tradition is you sign the door where you slept the night before. They gave me a bad pen. And of course we get the blessing. So, and there's Gennady, my good merch on. And they bless our rocket. So, so I think everybody has their different, traditions, good luck charms, and things like that. So, but the best thing we can do is just train, and be prepared, and trust all the engineers that build everything for us. But so that was my lucky charm. Try. All right, right back there.
I've got 3 questions for you, if you don't mind.
I don't mind, but let's do one at a time, because I'll forget, by the time you get to the third one, I'll forget the first one.
First of all, do you think it's very important to know English if you want to participate in a serious international space projects?
Yes, I think it's, and not just English. So in this case, on the International Space Station, the official language is English. That's the official language. But on the Soyuz, in which we fly to get to the space station, everything is in Russian. So that's why every astronaut has to learn Russian. But I would say in today's world, the whole world is kind of connected now. So knowing more than one language is important. Whether it's English, I know you guys have French, you have German here. The more languages you can learn, the better I think you are prepared for living in today's world, because it's no longer working just in Russia or no longer just working in the United States. And in the United States, we don't do a very good job of teaching second languages. If you go anywhere in Europe, everybody speaks at least 2 or 3 languages. So I would say, yeah, I think it's very important, not just English, but other languages.
Can you tell about your most important achievement of your scientific research?
So, man, that's a good question. The one thing that's kind of cool about being an astronaut is when we go to space, we're not the scientists that are doing experiments. We are the ones working for the scientists. So we're like the technicians that are working with them. And so we get to see the results of the work that we do that was somebody else's project, where they've come up with new types of drugs that help people We're learning a lot about the human body. If we want to go to a different solar system, a different planet, we have to learn about that. So I don't really have one. One fun thing I did last time was I grew vegetables in space. And well, you think, who cares? Growing vegetables, I grow vegetables every day. But if we want to go to other planets, we have to learn how to grow our own food. So that was kind of fun to do.
You can find yourself in Wikipedia. Do you feel any excited about that?
Any excited about what?
You can find yourself in Wikipedia.
About what?
I mean, on the web, you're all over the place.
I am?
If you
I don't Google myself. I can't say that I'm proud of that. It's just part of my job, and it's kind of weird because people that know me, they just know me forever. I'm Joe, I'm their friend, and astronauts are really just ordinary people, but we have this really, really cool job that people want to know about, which is exciting. But yeah, I didn't know I was famous. I try not to look at myself because there's probably a lot of bad things too that I don't want to read. I don't know. Do you guys want to be on the internet?
No.
Sometimes being low key, if you know what that means, like under the radar is good.
Thank you.
Thank you for those great questions. It's turning it up over here. Yes.
Do you promoting the topic of space? For example, did you take part in a talk show, or do you spread the idea of studying or flying in space in social media?
Yes. So while I was up there, so I was a school teacher, and then when I left, there was another astronaut named Ricky Arnold who was a school teacher. And so NASA had a program that they called the Year of Education in Space. And so we spent a lot of time doing outreach and talking to people, doing social media. So we did do a lot of that. Si, senor.
Have you ever been in danger while being in space?
It's always dangerous. I mean, going to space is still very, very dangerous. We do it a lot, and we feel very comfortable, but it's very dangerous. Doing the launch is very dangerous. Coming home is dangerous. I've had a chance to do 3 spacewalks, and those are, very dangerous. So I think a lot of what we do is dangerous, but we have a lot of people looking out for our safety that try to reduce the risk, but it's always dangerous when you live somewhere that you can't breathe in space, and so if there's a problem with your spaceship, you're in big trouble. But other than that, I've been very lucky that nothing too terrible has happened. Yes.
What was the first and the main thing that you have learned from spaceflight? Maybe it was that the Earth is really small, or?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. The first time I went to space and I look back at the Earth, I could not believe the way, you see pictures and, pictures are great. I can show you pictures, but when you see it for the first time, you just cannot believe how beautiful it is. Our planet is incredible. But you can also see the atmosphere of our planet. So you have this big Earth, big ball, and then you have this really, really thin atmosphere. And that little thin atmosphere is what helps us, breathe, what protects us from the sun. So all of that it makes you appreciate the planet. And really, and I think one of my astronaut buddies said this, all of us are astronauts because all of us are floating around in space right now. And so when you see the Earth from, that far away, it really makes you understand how fragile our home is and how much we have to take care of it. Because it's not just your little city that you live in or just your country. Everything is connected. And when you see the Earth from that far away, it really helps you appreciate that. Yes.
How do you feel about ecological problems like global warming and ozone layer, something like that?
I feel terrible about it. because none of them are good. If you're asking if I believe it, I believe that we do have global warming. We've had some problems with the ozone. So I think it's very important that not just one country, but humans in general have to work together to try to control that problem. You know, I'm already 52 years old. I don't know, I got a few years left in my life, but you guys have a lot more. And so it's really, you know, your planet, and it's what you help happen now is what's going to impact the future. So I hope you guys think that there are global problems. You guys believe in global warming? Yes, no?
Yes. Yeah.
You don't believe in it? Who doesn't believe it? It's okay, you don't have to agree with me. A little bit? So, which is good. I mean, you shouldn't believe everything that you see or you read. And so that's why you have to, you know, do research. You have to look a little bit more in depth. But we do have a lot of problems on our planet that if we don't start making changes now, it's going to have a bigger and bigger impact. So whether you think it's global warming, whether you think it's trash, different types of pollution, there's all kinds of problems. And so if you don't believe in global warming, just look at the problems here where you live and see if there's something that you can make better, because without you, it's not going to get better.
And what about the problem of trash floating in the space around
It's terrible. Yeah, there's a lot of space trash floating around. And on the space station, we can change where we are in the orbit. So if we see something coming to hit the space station, we'll actually go higher in our orbit so we don't get hit. But there's a lot of it up there. All right, keep going. I'm just going to see if I have anything else I want to show you. Okay, well, let me see. You guys are 16 years old, right? And 17?
15.
15?
13.
Maybe 14.
13.
13? Who's 13? I want to be 13.
Houston, Huntsville, Munich, School of Moscow.
Who likes comic
Welcome
books?
to Houston, DBC.
And good morning, ISS, Expedition 53, and a happy Halloween to all of you.
So we had to celebrate Halloween.
We hope you have some good trick-or-treating plans for this evening.
Living in space is fun.
We do. We left the porch light on for all the kids to come up and get candy.
Who's this? Get the joke. That's a pumpkin.
Shy.
Shy? God. Very shy. I'm learning all kinds of good words. It's fun learning Russian. I learned щедрый yesterday. I think I'm щедрый. That's what I tell people. Yes?
When you was in space, did you saw some kind of UFOs or aliens?
I just showed you some aliens. I did not see. I didn't see any aliens. I wish. I mean, how cool would that be to look out the window and see an alien right there? That would be awesome. But I did not see any aliens. But a lot of times we see UFOs. You know what UFO stands for?
Enlil.
Flying object.
Unidentified.
Flying object.
Flying object. So if you see something you don't know what it is, it's a UFO. So a lot of times we'll see things come off of the space station, and so it's a UFO, and then they figure out it was a piece of the space station that fell off, and then it's no longer a UFO. But I've seen a lot of UFOs. Yes?
Did you hear about the song 39th by Queen? If so, do you think that it may usher in the future?
And what was that?
The song 39th by Queen. It's song about an astronaut who travels to a distant place at near the speed of light. Because of the time dilation, he and his crew return home 100 years later. He has aged only a year, but sadly finds that everyone he knew before being dead for many years.
Is that from a book?
It is a song.
Science fiction books. And that's kind of what got me interested about becoming an astronaut. And so I love, reading stories about that where somebody, if you travel, in theory, if you're traveling like at the speed of light, then you have this time dilation and what's going to happen. And yeah, you're gone in what seems like 100 years on Earth, and for you might have been 1 minute. That's too much for my brain to handle. My brain goes like this when I try to think of that. But I think it's cool to read about it, and there's a lot of good physics that would help you, try to understand that and see if that's really the way it would be. Since we're talking about physics, okay, everybody knows what water is, right? Water? Duh? You still awake? Duh. I'm going to show them the water. So you know what water is, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what the word sticky? What does sticky mean? Leaky, sticky. Duh. So when I was a science teacher, I would tell my students that water is sticky. Duh. Have you guys studied water? Water is pretty important. And water is H2O. Duh. H2. I don't know what it is in Russian. Okay, so it's the same thing. So water. And it's a polar molecule. And so you have a lot of positive, a lot of negative, and so it is kind of sticky. If you go home and you take a cup of water and you take a pin, you know what you use to sew? How do you call a pin?
Иголка.
Yeah. You can make it float on top of water. If you're very careful, you can put it on top. Normally a pin will sink to the bottom, but you can put it right on top. But because water has a surface tension, you can make that pin float. So try it, but you have to be very patient. So in space, water is... So water is very interesting in space. So, now, because of the surface tension, when water is released, it forms like a ball. And then if you look at his face, that's Oleg, his face is upside down in the water bubble because of the way the light is being bent as it goes through. So depending on the size of the bubble, he might be upside down or it might look regular. So water is pretty cool. See how water is kind of sticky when he puts his finger in there and tries to stop it. Normally we don't make the bubbles that big in space because then you have to drink it. Stuck all over his face, which could be a problem if he couldn't get rid of the water.
much comfortable that it's both.
Yes. So that's, we talked about how does being in space change your life. When you see something like that for real, that's pretty cool. Nobody wants to be a cosmonaut still? Going to space is fun.
Only because of this.
Not only because of that, but man, the view's good. You float around like Spider-Man.
I still want it.
All right. How are we doing with time and questions? Are you guys falling asleep yet?
No.
Tired?
No.
So late in the day. Yes.
Do you like animals and what's your favorite animal?
So I love animals. When I get back home to Houston and I finally don't travel so much, I want to get a dog. I had a dog. Oh, so cute. I don't want a little dog. I want a dog, but I don't want a dog who sheds, not sheddery, but sheds. Do you know what that means? Shed? Because it just makes a big mess, but yeah, I want
Without hair?
No, not no hair. I don't want a bald dog. I want a dog. So dogs, depending on the type of hair, the fur, some of it, releases a lot of fur, and some like that have longer hair, they don't release as much hair, but not a bald dog. That would be weird. They have bald cats, right? The Egyptian cats. That's weird. No. What's your favorite animal? Dog? Yeah, dogs are cool. Yes.
Can you recommend some interesting books, your favorite books?
My favorite books? Ooh, I don't know. I like a lot of books. Let me see. I'm trying to think. There were these good books about people going to Mars and living on Mars. And I think it's called like Red Mars, Blue Mars, and Green Mars. And the reason why it has the colors is you look at Mars now, it looks kind of red. So when they first show up, they're living inside like a habitat, and then they start adding water and making water. So that's why the next book is called Blue Mars. And then after that, they start growing plants and all of that. So then it's called Green Mars. So that's a cool book. I'm trying to think of my other favorite book. Let me think about it, and it might pop in my head. I like that book, Ender's Game. Have you ever read that book? Ender's Game? There's a movie.
Oh, yeah.
What is it in Russian? Yeah, I think so. I believe you. But I like that book was cool because, he's doing all this stuff, and you think he's doing one thing, and then at the end you find out it's something totally different. So that was cool.
What do you think is their life on Mars?
I don't know. There's a lot of evidence that says it's possible, and we keep sending more robots and rovers to Mars, and hopefully soon we're going to send humans. I would not be surprised if we found life on Mars. So I think there could be. Or maybe there used to be, and now we'll find evidence that there used to be life on Mars. Yes?
Do you feel sad about the rover that stopped at Mars a few time ago?
It's a little sad. I cried just a little bit. It's weird because you see the rover, and it's a machine like a car, but you get to know it, and you feel like it's almost like it's alive. And then when it stops working, it does make you a little bit sad. But it lived and did a lot more than was ever expected. Yes.
Do you have any fears, and do you have your life motto?
Do I have any fears? And what was the second part?
Life motto, motivation of yourself. Slogan. Yeah.
Oh, a slogan? Ooh, let me see if I can come up with one. I have two big fears that people don't believe me, but it's real. So believe me. My first fear is talking in public. Oh, I'm not kidding. I hate talking in public. When I go out and I have to give a speech, which I have to do in my job, if you had like a heart monitor on me, you would see go brrrr. I get very, very nervous, and I don't like to do it. But it's part of my job, and so it's just something that, we all have fears, and sometimes you can avoid the fear and not do that, or sometimes you have to learn how to control the fear. And my second fear, which when they wrote an article about this in the newspaper, it was kind of embarrassing, but I'm also afraid of heights. So being an astronaut, two of my fears is not very good for being an astronaut, because we have to talk in public, and guess what? We have to go somewhere high to work. So, you know, the good thing is that you can control it, but yeah, those are my two biggest fears. And my slogan, let me see, I could say slow your roll. I would say if I have to come up with a slogan, and maybe if somebody here is good in marketing, we can go into business after I stop being an astronaut. I would say be you, like be who you are, right? And then do you. Like do what you want to do. So I just came up with that. Be you, do you.
It's very English sounding.
It's very English sounding, but we could probably translate it into beat thee. Is that what you would say? Beat thee, yell at thee. Beat some boy.
Be yourself.
E. Be you, do you. All right. So if you guys want to work on that, I give you permission, and you can go ahead and do that. But really, what I'm trying to say is, you know, we talk about the things that I did in my life to get me where I'm at today. They weren't all perfect, and I got lucky a lot, but you have to make good choices. So think about what you're doing. You can have fun, but try to make smart decisions, because the decisions you make today could impact the rest of your life, and then do what you feel is right. Doesn't mean you can be crazy and do anything you want, but if you feel strongly about something, take action and do that and follow through with it. So be you, do you. Yes?
Who or what inspired you to become an astronaut?
A part of it was from reading all those books, but I blame my grandfather. He never went to college, but he was always fascinated by science and would watch it on TV. And so I know I'm very old, but when the astronauts were walking on the moon, we had this the film, and so he would show us that the astronauts walking on the moon when I was maybe 5 years old, and so that was kind of motivating, and to see someone like him who didn't have a formal education but was very interested in science kind of got me thinking about maybe going into that career.
Thanks.
How are we doing, teachers? Are we good on time still?
Maybe I think it's time to listen to some songs
which
pupils have prepared for you.
Yes!
Okay.
You gonna sing for me?
Anastasiya, you're welcome.
I saw you guys taking video of me and pictures, so now it's my turn.
Loving can hurt. Loving can hurt sometimes. That is the only thing that I know. When it gets hard, you know it can get hard sometimes. That is the only thing that makes us feel alive. We keep this love in a photograph. We made us memories for ourselves, where the eyes are never closing, hearts were never broken, time's forever frozen still. So you can keep inside the pocket of your jeans, holding me close into your eyes. You won't ever be alone. Wait for me to come home. Loving can heal. Loving can mend your soul. And it's the only thing that I know. I swear it will get easier. Remember that we'll never be so young. That is the only thing with us when we die. And if you come, oh, it's okay, baby, only once. Inside this page is yours to know me, and I will never let you go. When I'm away, I'll never remember how you kissed me under the lamp of Sea Street, healing you with perfume the phone. Wait for me to come home.
Sometimes it's here, you can take a break. Hot air balloon that could go to space. It like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like that's what you wanna do. He got bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold back. I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. He is fine. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like that's what you wanna do. Bring me down, get us. Bring me down, my level's too high. Bring me down, get us. Bring me down, I said. Bring me down, get us. Bring me down, my level's too high. Bring me down, get us. Bring me down, I said. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like that's what you wanna do. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like that's what you wanna do. Bring me down, get us. Bring me down, my level's too high. Bring me down, get us. Bring me down, I said. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like that's what you wanna do. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like that's what you wanna do.
great.
So, hope you enjoyed the talk. It was fun talking with you, learning about you. Hopefully you learned a little bit about space and being an astronaut, a little bit about being an American. I just want to leave you with maybe 4 minutes. It's a song that just shows the Earth because you were asking me what it looks like. So just some cool pictures that my crewmates took while we were up there.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its scenes while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone. Neath the halo of a street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe people talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs and voices never shared, and no one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fool said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops fell, echoed in wells of silence, and the people bowing to the neon god they made. Inside flashed out his warning, and the words that it was forming. In the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls, in tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence.
It was a большая честь to hang out with you. So I'm very impressed with your English skills and how smart you are. So I'm very excited for you, and I look in being in touch with Allah and hearing about all the great things you guys are doing. So thank you.
Thanks a lot for your visit, and we'd like to make our meeting memorable. And we'd like to give you some souvenirs, 2 booklets. One is about our school, another with the text from our pupils for you, about Star City, and Korea,
It's the symbol of our school.
Awesome.
the emblem of our school. Okay.
Thank you.
So thanks a lot.
All right. Have a great day. Thank you very much.